Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to be talking about how you just need to start now, basically. I know I made a video previous on this, but this is a bit of a subtopic. And if you can't watch a 10-minute video about this, then I'm sorry, you're kind of lost. Okay? Okay. Now, my previous video did a brief overview, and I don't think I articulated it well, but this is kind of my example on how you just need a spark. Okay? So, when I was starting out, quote unquote. It was technically last summer, and I came across this guy called Simon Squibb, and some of you might know who he is, some of you might not, but he is a British YouTuber with I believe 2.2 million subs. I could be wrong on that by the time, but he made like business videos, and they were mostly about like brick and mortar business like that. And this kind of started my thing. Now in February, I watched Mark Tilbury and like started investing in stocks, but that wasn't really business. That was kind of just like financial stuff. So I really started to watch this guy a lot. And what I do is I'd start taking notes. I mean, I wasn't really working per se. I wasn't really like working on the business. I was just taking notes. Doing like maybe 1 hour a day. I'd watch his. Some of you maybe have even watched his like 2 hour long, and like it's like 2 hours 26 minutes video on like business fundamentals. Like I have the notes from a long time ago, and basically what happened was when I did this, this was the first consequence. This was the first consequence. Okay? And then, in order to get to, the goal, which could be, 10K a month, it's just this kind of like, it'll go exponential. But you kind of just need the first order consequence. You need the start, okay? So, yeah, I started to watch Simon Squibb, and then I came across this one video. And he was collabing with another entrepreneur, Charlie Morgan. And some of you might know who this guy is. Probably not as popular on YouTube as Simon Squibb. But I think my unconscious kind of just like knew that my life would be, forever changed. So after I watched the video, like I usually do, I'd take some notes, I don't really take action, but I kind of just take notes, kind of like school notes. And this was the second consequence. So then, rather than watching Simon Squibb, I started to watch Charlie Morgan. And then I watched Charlie Morgan more and more and more. And then I came across his like 22-hour and 17-hour like long ass videos. So I started to watch those. That was kind of like the third order consequence. Keep in mind, I don't have a niche. I don't have an offer. I'm basically just taking notes. Like I haven't really even started. Okay, I haven't really started. And then it was right after cross country season. It was late October, and Charlie, this guy, made a program that was completely free, known as Imperium Academy. And this was the vehicle to 0K a month to 10K a month. This was the vehicle, Imperium Academy. This is what I would be using to get to here. Now I have not achieved this goal. Hell, I hadn't even got my first client because of my age and stuff. Like it's changed my life so far. And this is almost the point of critical mass. And the thing about this is, like, this is kind of a bad graph, so like this would kind of be, it right here. And even then, like I have to work here, but Okay. And you might be thinking, well, okay, what the hell does this have to do with me starting now? Okay, I'm gonna bring it to the side. So you have these things called feeder actions. And I touched this before in a couple of my other videos, but basically you have a goal, which is could be here. And this goal is an effect. This goal is an effect. And you have to do actions that will, get you to this goal. You have to become he who she who can. And usually there is an initial action. Like, for example, for me, it was, you know, the Simon Squibb shit. This was the initial spark almost. And then it was Charlie Morgan. Then it was Imperium Academy. But these are kind of just sparks, you're not really exercising discipline, you're kind of like motivated still. But here's where everything kind of go crazy, So then, this is the feeder action. You actually start doing the work. You work. This is the thing you have to do, execute on daily in order for you to achieve your goal, okay? You have to work, I don't know, however many hours, maybe like 6 to 8 hours, depending on the day, maybe 12, feeling a little frisky. Maybe it doesn't matter. It's just the thing you repeat every single day and the thing you need to do. It's no different from trying to do a sub 20-minute 5K. The action you need to do every day is to run. And maybe you had a spark like watching the David Goggins thing and doing all that, okay? So it's not really the sparks that get you here. It's the thing that you have to execute on every day, okay? And this graph, most people quit here. This is where most people quit. Most people quit right here. They switch to different niche. They try to do drop shipping. They try to do all this shit. It doesn't work like that, okay? You have to stick to it. This is what most people do. They do it for like 1 to 2 months or even a couple of weeks, and then they just don't do it, So you have to do the daily action every day, until you can just see this exponential thing. Because I can guarantee you, once I get my first client, it'll just go, boop. It'll just go exponential with this kind of stuff, okay? I think I'm explaining this well up here. And then the feeder action kind of feeds into other stuff. Like, okay, well, the work, you have to learn how to do sales. You have to, and then that learns to script and all that shit, whole lot of bad handwriting, Another could be, beats me, appointment booking, And then, since you have this good thing that's in your life, you'll have, you start working out again. You'll start being healthier. And that's another point of leverage to be more successful because you're more focused and all that kind of shit. And also, this is also vice versa. So the same thing happens in the negative. So let me just go scrap real quick. So let's say, you have the initial action of, I don't know. Yeah. Watching your first short form content. Okay? So you watch your short form vid, then you start watching it every single day. And there's another video on this, like I said, like why this is worse than smoking, Then this is the feeder action, and then down over this, maybe you start like eating sugar, staying up late, stuff like that. And then it comes to miserable life, And of course, you can like come back from this, but it just gets a lot harder when you're this far down, This is the first consequence. This is the spark. And then it'll just go exponential, and then it'll just, it's this feedback loop, like in science class when they tell you the feedback loop. So whatever you're trying to do, whether that be get fit, whether that be gain financial freedom, whether that be have a better relationship with your family, usually you need a spark, but usually there's a daily action you have to do every single day to, get the goal you want, get the money you want, and, do this shit. So bog down, do the work, and I hope you found this video useful, and I hope you got clarity from this, because when I learned this, it really, really changed my life. Okay. I'm going to pitch you now. So the guy Charlie Morgan, he made this program called Imperium Academy, and it's the first 2 weeks are free. Like all this stuff I learned from this program, and it'll help you get your first client. It like the teachings in there are excellent, and if you really do want to like make the changes in your life, I recommend you use it. So I hope you found this video useful, and there are other videos like this on my channel, and I hope you yeah, I just hope you liked the video. So if you want to like, subscribe, like my content, feel free to. All right, have a good day.